Hi, I'm Sharon Bill. Welcome to my Theory Tuition series where we're working through the ABRSM Theory Grades. There are loads of resources available to help you on my website. If you go to sharonbill.com, you'll find some free PDF information sheets and you can download those in US letter or A4 and they accompany each step of this series. You'll find a page with links to all of my YouTube video tutorials there, and you can also access information about the books that I have available. I've written an exam technique guide, how to take your ABRSM Music Theory Exam. It's full of tips and techniques to help you best prepare for your exam in the run-up to exam day, and of course it will help you with tips and ideas on how to best make use of your time in the exam room when you're working through your exam paper. So if you visit sharonbill.com, you'll find it's all there. If you can give me a like, that would be fab, and subscribe to my channel to keep updated. There's lots more in store. And so now we're going to continue with the paper B of the 2015 Grade 3 past paper booklet. So if you turn with me to page 7, we're going to have a look for question 5 to begin with. And as I always say, it's always better to have a go of this first, or at least listen to a little bit of the explanation on how to go about it, then press pause, have a go, and then re-access into the video to check your answers. Doesn't matter if you go wrong, always write in pencil. You can always just erase that and you'll learn much more thoroughly through those mistakes. So I'm hoping you've had a go of this. And now we're going to answer question 5 together. So they've given us a few clues on how to go about this in the correct way. They've italicised certain words to just point out, watch out, things to look out for. Above, we need to write a higher note to make a harmonic interval. Now we're always counting upwards from this note up. So we're counting higher. We've got to write the note directly above to make it a harmonic interval. Like a harmony, the notes come together, unlike a melodic interval where the notes come one after the other. So first of all, we've got to just kind of get the blobs in the right place. So we need to count from E up a seventh. We're in E minor. So 1, 2, 3 is the space, 4, 5, 6, 7. And if you want to just double check, if you just write the steps of the scale, find a space here. E, F, G, A, B, C, D, E. I know, of course, you've got all your sharps and things going on, but we can deal with that. We just want the blobs yet. And so we can see that the 7th is D, and so that's correct. Now we need it to be a major 7th. So E major has a D sharp in the key signature, F, C, G, D sharp. So we need to raise that by adding the sharp to make it major. So first of all, now we get the blob in for this next one. 1, 3, 5, counting up the spaces. And that's already a perfect 5th, nothing to change there. Perfect 4th, we're just in line with the key signature, so we know accidentals, we've just got to get the blob in the right place. 1, 2, 3, 4, there we go. And we can see that the 4th is an A, that's correct. The 5th is a B, that's correct. Let's move on. So we need a 3rd, E, F, G, counting up in the bass clef. Now, E minor has G naturals, so there's no need to add any sharps there. E major would be G sharps because the key signature has F, C, G, D, but this is part of the minor scale which just has F sharps in the key signature, and then that's already dealt with now. So last one, we've got to count up a 6, so just count carefully with your ledger lines. 1, 2, 3 is the space, 4, 5 is the space, 6 gives us another ledger line, and you can see we've gone to C. So this is part of the minor scale already. C sharp would be major, part of the major scale because of the major key signature, but here the key signature is just F sharps, and so that's already minor. So that's that one completed. Let's move on to the next question. So we're asked to rewrite this melody using notes of half of the value. We've got to halve everything, so we need to put in a new time signature and we need to re-beam the notes as appropriate to our new time signature. So at the moment this is 3 minim beats or 3 half notes per bar, and so to halve that we still need 3 beats per bar, but we're going to be counting in crotchet beats or quarter notes, so our time signature is going to be 3/4. And so to halve everything, let's just sort of scan through and have a think about this. So these will become coloured in to make those into crotchets. Then we add a tail to make that into a quaver, colour that in. They will have tails. That will have an extra beam to halve those from quavers to semi-quavers, or 1/8 notes to 16th notes. To halve these from crotchets to quavers or quarter notes to 1/8 notes, we'd have a tail on these. Of course, we're going to have to beam these, but that's just the thinking part nearly done. And then we'll colour those in, and we're ready to go. So I'm just going to get the note heads in place first of all, and we can see now I'm going to have to colour all the note heads in, so I've done that bit of thinking at least. You can do this any way you like. I just prefer to get the note heads in and just deal with one thing at a time. I'm keeping everything nicely aligned with theirs, keeping the blobs in place, and that way I know I'm not going to run out of space, and I'm keeping everything appropriately spaced. And we're going to have to think about the ledger lines here. Sorry, not the ledger lines, the stems, to accommodate the beaming. And then these will be coloured in now because these are crotchets or quarter notes. There we go. So these are just going to need stems. The pitch hasn't changed, so they go the same way. We can't beam that because that's on its own. Now here we can beam these. However, we know that there's half a beat, there's 1 beat. We've got 1.5 beats, so we need to keep this one on its own to show beat 2. And then beat 3, we can now beam these together. We need to show the start of each new beat. It would be a mistake to beam those together because that belongs to this beat here. And so these are going to be beamed together. There we go. Now all of these can be beamed together. If you remember the rule for beaming in 3/4, if it's a bar entirely made up of quavers or 1/8 notes, we can beam those together. And so all of these stems come down apart from this one, but this one's going to be outvoted for the sake of all of the others. Ooh, use a ruler by all means to keep it neat and tidy. So we're going to have the stems coming down to beam all of these. It's a bit like a parallelogram there, not terribly straight. Shall I do that again? There we go. And then here, these 2 half a beats in our new time signature can be beamed together to show the first beat of the bar beamed, and then these just need stems. There we go. So it's all correctly beamed, and we've got the correct number of beats per bar, so we know we've not made any mistakes. That's that question completed. So let's move on to the next question. So we're asked to add the correct rest or rests. That's a really important point there. The places marked with a star in these 2 melodies. So we've got 2 separate time signatures, so just keep your eyes peeled. It's not a continuation to complete each bar. Now the important thing is to remember that every new beat needs a new rest. So we can't just fill in the gap with any old rest. We've got to show the proper allocation of the beats in the time signature. So in 3/8 we need to be reflecting 1, 2, 3 quaver beats, 3/8 notes per bar. So there's 1 beat. So here's the 2nd beat. And then this 3rd beat is not complete. So we need that to complete the 3rd beat. It would not be appropriate to do a quaver or an 1/8 note rest and put a dot next to it, because that's not showing every new beat needs a new rest. So we need to show each new beat. So you can see there's beat 1, there's beat 2, there's beat 3. That's what they're asking for. So we've got a bit of maths going on here. We're counting in 1/8 notes or quaver beats. 2 semis or 2 16th notes gives us 1 quaver. 4 32nd notes, 4 demi-semis gives us another quaver. And then here we should have 4 demi-semis, but we've only got 3 or 32nd notes, so the last one of this group of 4 will have to be a rest. There we go, to complete that beat, and that's that first one completed. Now we're counting in 4/4, so we need to be showing 1, 2, 3, 4. We need to be showing those individual crotchet or quarter note rests, and we also need to bear in mind that we don't cross over the middle of the line, the middle of the bar, sorry. It's just the same as if you were beaming notes. The way we allocate rests is just exactly the same as beaming notes. So I'm going to start at the back end of this bar. We've got 1 beat here, and then here we've got a triplet. It should be 3 in the time of 2, but there are only 2 at the moment, so we obviously need another quaver or 8th note to complete the triplet. So we have 1 beat here, we have 1 beat here now, 3 in the time of 2 is now complete with that rest. So we've got 2 beats left, so you could think, well, there's each new beat needs a new rest. However, if you remember, there is also the accepted rule where we can have half a bar, a 4/4 as a minim or a half note rest, so long as we've not crossed over the middle barrier. We can't straddle over that because that's the first half of the bar that is acceptable. There we go, let's move on. So we've got 1 beat here, 3 in the time of 2 gives us another beat. There's another beat. So we've got 1, 2, 3 and a half, so we just need this final half of a beat there. Now here we've got almost a complete bar, but we've got to finish off this beat first. So this is half of a beat here, so we need to complete that. There's 1 beat now. Then we can finish off beat 2 as a rest, and then again here, instead of having 2 individual 1 beat rests, we can finish the last half of the bar with a half note or a minim beat rest. There we go. So it's always to do with showing each new beat and then just remembering extra little pointers, exactly the same rules as beaming. So that's that question completed. I hope it's helpful to you. We'll look at the last question in the next video. If you can give me a like if this is helpful to you, that would be fab. I hope that you're enjoying it. I certainly am. Please do subscribe to my channel to keep updated. Please do visit sharonbale.com and make use of all of the resource that's available to help you there. Thanks for watching. See you next time. Bye.